Hi there, so happy you've joined us for another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Coming up in this half-hour journey, we'll bring you up to date on what you need to know about the COVID-19 pandemic, plus how you can avoid being overwhelmed by fear and staying mentally strong. Sit back and relax for these, plus other interesting features that can help on the way to a new norm in our lives. Let's take the trip.
On Wednesday, April 8, government received 29 ventilators from the European Union to support patients who need intensive care in hospitals and to treat those infected with the coronavirus COVID-19.
This represents for us a major advancement in the implementation of our COVID-19 response plan. This donation not only represents a significant part of the implementation of the plan that we have, but perhaps in terms of life-saving procedures, given that we do project that you will have a certain percentage of COVID-19 patients who will require assistance in breathing at the highest level of intensive care. This donation of about 1 million euros, 150 million Jamaican, represents the most significant in terms of saving lives. And as a consequence, I cannot overemphasize the thanks and the gratefulness on behalf of the government of Jamaica, the people of Jamaica, to the European Union for this contribution. It has effectively doubled our capacity in terms of ventilators in one major action.
There couldn't be a better time for this kind of support from the people of Europe to the people of Jamaica. As you know, there is an enormous demand for these machines worldwide. So we're very, very lucky to be able to get so many of them and bring them to Jamaica. We will also be, like all the other international partners, trying to see how we can find additional funds or move funds from our assistance to the country to provide even more money for whatever is going to be needed.
The ventilators are being distributed to hospitals across the island. Of the total, 6 are small mobile ventilators. On the same day, the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, toured the National Health Fund to assess COVID-19 medical supplies.
We have a full warehouse here under heavy security, let me add that. And we have been able, despite the challenges of logistics and sourcing some of the vital equipment, we have been able to access critical supplies like ventilators, monitors, ICU beds, stretchers. We brought in 500 N95 masks, which are very important for usage. We have a number of our temperature scanners and other critical items. So I think we're in a position now where we can safely say for the next 2 to 3 months, in terms of some of the very critical items, we have a critical supplies in storage.
And the health minister met with and commended the 80 final year medical students from the University of the West Indies who recently joined the ministry's COVID-19 response team call center.
Among the key measures being implemented to prevent the spread of the coronavirus is social distancing. Let's take a look at government's latest strategies to ensure Jamaicans adhere to these guidelines and prevent wide-scale spread of COVID-19 in the country.
It has now been approximately a month, 29 days, since we had our first confirmed case of COVID-19, and that was on the 10th of March. We now have 63 confirmed cases out of 907 tests conducted. And relative to other countries in the region, we have been fairly successful in controlling the spread of the disease to this point. We are, however, by no means out of the woods, and neither are we about to become complacent. We must maintain and reinforce the safeguards and measures that have resulted in our successes so far. The strategy of the government, and to be clear, is not to shut down our economy. That is not the strategy of the government. And I want to assure businesses that the government is not seeking to go into a total lockdown. That is not what we want to do. We want you to, in your planning, to be comfortable that the government is moving with great discernment and discretion and consideration. So as we implement the measures, we review them. The ministers can tell you that we review them almost on a daily basis to make sure that we are trying to fulfill the two objectives: contain and slow down the spread of the disease while allowing businesses to operate as much as possible. We have some adjusted orders, therefore, for the curfew from 8 p.m. tonight, Wednesday the 8th of April 2020, to 6 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday the 9th of April 2020, starting from tonight to Thursday. And then from 8 p.m. on Thursday the 9th of April 2020 to 7 a.m. on Friday the 10th of April 2020. During the Easter weekend, the curfew will be from Friday the 10th of April 2020 through Monday the 13th of April 2020. The curfew will commence at 3 p.m. in the afternoon and end at 7 a.m. the next morning. In other words, the non-curfew hours, that is the period of time that you will be able to move about freely and conduct the essentials of life, would be from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily over the Easter weekend. So everybody should understand that point. Now on Easter Monday, the curfew will start 3 p.m. and ends 5 a.m. Tuesday morning. The new nightly curfew rules after Easter would be 9 p.m. starting on Tuesday to 5 a.m. Wednesday morning, continuing through to the 21st of April 2020. So for Holy Thursday tomorrow, markets will be open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. instead of the normal 6 p.m. closing. On the Saturday following, the 11th of April 2020, markets will be opened from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we will limit the time available for market activities on the Saturday during the Easter weekend. After Easter, we will revert to the previous hours of Sunday to Wednesday, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Thursdays to Saturday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Markets will be closed on Good Friday, Easter Sunday, and Easter Monday. And not just the markets, but the market district as defined. And this would include all areas for transportation hubs where there are vendings and the arcades. All beaches will be closed over the Easter weekend. Every educational institution as defined in the Education Act shall remain closed until the 22nd day of April 2020. It's important that we say it now so that parents are aware that schools will continue to be closed. The next time you will hear from, well, up until the 22nd of April. And then, as usual, we will give you enough advance notice of a decision to reopen or to close. During the period of the 8th to the 21st of April, the following categories of persons are required to wear a mask that is fitted to cover the nose and the mouth. Persons ill with respiratory or flu-like symptoms. You have a fever to start with. You have a persistent cough. You may have a cold. You might be sneezing, persistently. Those are generally the symptoms that we are talking about. But there might be others. You might have difficulty breathing and so forth. Persons caring for someone at home with a flu-like or respiratory illness. 3, senior persons over the age of 65. And persons with comorbidities. These are what we call the pre-existing conditions. Some of them are non-communicable diseases, the hypertension, the diabetes, as we said, respiratory illnesses, and a significant number of Jamaicans have those kinds of pre-existing conditions. During the period from the 8th to the 21st of April 2020, persons are strongly encouraged to wear a mask that is fitted to cover the nose and mouth while in public places. If you are going to go to the market, if you are going to take public transportation, if you have to go to somewhere where there would be a lot of people, not necessarily gathered in tents or crowded, but still a lot of people in that area, wear a mask. With effect from the 8th of April to the end of the 21st of April 2020, the following categories of persons shall remain at their place of residence, except that they may leave their premises once per day for food, medicine, exercise, and other necessities of life. Persons 70 years and over. There is a view that our borders are closed generally, and it is having an impact on trade and the movement of cargo. I want to take this opportunity to say that none of the orders that we have put in place has in any way limited or restricted the movement of cargo and trade generally. Our ports and airports are open, wide open now to cargo.
The general work from home order remains in place and has been extended and modified. So during the period April 8 to April 21, all persons who can work from home should work from home. During that period, an employer may permit the employee who is able to work from home to work from home. And in relation to an employee who is not able to work from home, the employer may nonetheless permit that person to work from home in order to care for an elderly or ailing family member, a child of the employee, if there is no other suitable childcare arrangement available for that purpose. So we have listened to the feedback in relation to how the orders are working generally and what modifications are required. And also during the period April 8 to April 21st, we ask that no adverse consequences be imposed on employees in relation to persons who have attained the age of 70 years or more, or persons who exhibit flu-like symptoms. In other words, do not require them to come to work. And in addition to that, we have imposed a duty on persons who are ill to stay home. So work from home generally, you can make your arrangements with your employer, and we did. Yes, if you're ill with flu-like symptoms or respiratory symptoms in particular, ill with them, not just having them, if you're ill with them. Because we understand, according to the CMO, that a number of persons may have the symptoms generally. So we're looking at the illness. And we maintain the direction that, in relation to the grant of permission to an employee, it shall not count against the leave entitlement of the employee unless otherwise agreed between employer and employee.
I want you to have confidence as well that we will come out of this crisis, that there is life after COVID, and that you should continue your plans for your economic activities and all your other activities. Don't scrap them. Keep on making those plans and seeing how best you can advance those plans, because it is having those plans in place that we will come out of the economic doldrums and have a fast recovery after we have come out of the health crisis.
The internet and social media are serving their purpose, getting out information on COVID-19 fast and in the palm of our hands. But a lot of what is being shared can be misleading. So we all have to exercise caution and ensure we're getting our information from the right sources. Here are some of the myths and facts.
There have been many myths surrounding the coronavirus disease, the same one now officially known as COVID-19. I've heard that Jamaica's temperature is too hot, so COVID-19 won't survive here, or that you need to eat garlic to help prevent you from being infected. I know you've also heard some stuff and may even believe half or more of what you've heard. So let's take some time and debunk the myths of coronavirus. People have said that the novel coronavirus cannot be transmitted in the heat. That is a lie. The virus can be transmitted in all areas, including those with hot and humid weather like Jamaica. Another myth is that it can be transmitted through a mosquito bite. To date, there has been no information or evidence to suggest that the new coronavirus could be transmitted by mosquitoes. This one has been very popular. Only old people can contract the coronavirus. Do not be fooled. People of all ages can be infected by the new coronavirus. However, older people, particularly those with pre-existing medical conditions like asthma, diabetes, and heart disease, appear to be more vulnerable to becoming severely ill with the virus. This is another popular one. Eat more garlic, you won't catch the virus. Garlic is a healthy food that may have some antimicrobial properties. However, there is no evidence from the current outbreak that eating garlic has protected people from the new coronavirus. These are just some of the myths that surround the coronavirus. Make sure you take time out to know your facts and do what needs to be done as we all try to contain the spread of this disease.
I wish to emphasize that the success of our efforts is contingent on the support of all Jamaicans, including the deliberate efforts to access and share accurate information on the virus, thus helping to minimize the fears and anxiety that has been associated with the spread of the COVID-19. At the same time, we must, in keeping with good hygiene, maintain a distance of at least 2 meters from persons who are coughing or sneezing, frequently perform hand hygiene by washing hands thoroughly with soap and water or using a hand sanitizer if hands are not visibly soiled, cover our mouths and noses when coughing or sneezing with a tissue and then discarding it, and avoid touching our faces and each other unnecessarily.
You heard the health minister. Let's play our part while building those immune systems as we tackle this virus together.
Keeping mentally strong amidst all that's happening around us is certainly a challenge, but not one that is insurmountable. Armed with the right information and support, we can take steps to retain some normalcy in our day-to-day living and manage our stress and anxiety as we collectively fight the threat of COVID-19.
It is normal to feel sad, stressed, confused, scared, or overwhelmed during a crisis such as that caused from the COVID-19 pandemic. But there's no need to. For one, we must first inform ourselves about this disease through reliable sources to determine our risk and precautions to take. This can go a far way in calming our fears and ensuring our safety. Keeping in touch with family and friends and talking to people you trust, even as we practice social distancing, can help prevent panicking and keep you in good spirits. If you must stay at home during this period, try to maintain a healthy lifestyle of proper diet, adequate sleep, and regular exercise. Don't use smoking, alcohol, or other drugs to deal with your emotions. If you feel overwhelmed, talk to someone about it, a healthcare provider or counselor that you can call. Ensure that you're fully engaged in something constructive to occupy your time. An arrangement with your employer to work from home where possible is good in helping to keep up normal daily routines. Limit the time you and your family spend watching, listening, or in conversations about COVID-19 that you perceive as scary or upsetting to avoid being overwhelmed. Make sure you are in the know generally, but try to engage more in other things or change the topic of your conversations to things you enjoy talking about. Draw on the skills that have helped you manage previous adversities. It's important to try to maintain some sort of daily agenda so that the days are not wasted and you'll feel more accomplished. Focus on activities that make you feel happy, like reading a book, watching your favorite show, playing video games with your family, or telling stories. Do some gardening or chores around the home too. Children too need to be provided with the information to help them understand the risks without becoming scared and confused. Use age-appropriate language to teach them about hand washing, cough and sneezing etiquette, and social distancing. It's also important to reassure them about what could happen if they start feeling sick and may have to go to the hospital so doctors can help them feel better. In the meantime, ensure their learning continues even as schools are out. And give them extra time and attention. Listen, speak kindly, comfort them, and of course, make time to play. When it comes to easing fear and anxiety around COVID-19, just consider that once we do what's necessary to protect ourselves and prevent spread, we should be well. If we do get sick, rest assured our doctors are trained to manage the illness and help us recover. And yes, while we maintain proper cough etiquette, cover our noses when we sneeze, and practice social distancing, we must treat each other with care and respect. Don't be startled by every cough or sneeze. Remember, not everyone who does has the virus. Take care of yourself, support others, don't panic.
During this time of the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, literally every face-to-face meeting, conference, and class has been cancelled in favor of going online. However, we must remember to cater as best as possible to the deaf and hard of hearing. We implore members of the private sector and users of social media to use the services of a sign language interpreter where and when possible. For further information on how to assist the deaf and hard of hearing, contact the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities at 876-926-9376 or 876-618-1133. We ask all our stakeholders to play their part in catering for persons with disabilities. Take care of our persons with disabilities, not only today, but every single day. A message from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
COVID-19 has ushered in a new norm for people across the globe, social distancing, at least for now. With the level of interaction children are used to having now being curtailed, it's important to look at appropriate ways to keep them constructively engaged during this period of staying at home. Watch this next feature for some interesting ideas on how you can achieve that.
Schools are closed and you're seeing more of your children. I get it. The idea of being cooped up with them all day can be daunting or overwhelming. But there's hope. In a moment, we will share a host of engaging activities for your children while they're at home. Structure and regularity are good remedies for manufacturing calmness in times of distress. So here's a structure for a child. Let's start with creating a schedule that lays out time for studying, chores, eating, of course fun activities, and downtime. Incorporate new gaming activities into your child's routine, like puzzles and game boards such as Monopoly and Ludi. Charades and ABC Fast and Slow, Chinese Skip and Jump Ropes are also entertaining games that have the added benefit of getting them moving so that they're exercising without even realizing it. This works better for younger children. They are attracted by a range of colors and experiments. So how about you engage them with some drawings and paintings, bringing their artistic sides to life? Creating science projects is also a good way to work the minds while engaging your children. Music is perfect to get the young ones up and engaged. Plus, there are many studies suggesting that learning music helps children with their academics. Some musical games to explore include karaoke, musical chairs, and musical trivia. This is also a good way to teach them about their rich musical heritage. This may be the perfect time to teach your children how to prepare their favorite meals. If they already know how, then all the better getting expert hands on board. So here's the plan. Get a cookbook and get them involved. This could make them feel that they are making a valuable contribution to the family. As a parent, you'd already know the value in exercise and working out, so how about encouraging your children to create a workout routine, do some yoga or dance routine, and keep them moving. It might not be such a bad thing to allow your children to keep in touch with their peers or friends and keep a strong support network. If they wish to call or text friends and families, let them do so. Just monitor them. Socializing helps to regulate your mood and stay grounded, and that's as true for children as it is for adults. Some of these activities require the involvement of a responsible adult, but for those that do not, monitoring is still important for safety. Remember that different activities apply to different age groups, so ensure that you check on them in between all their playtime activities and ensure that all is going according to plan. Also, remember you can split the monitoring work between parents and/or older siblings. One parent or older sibling can monitor the children in the morning, while another person takes over in the afternoon. With that said, all the best.
We've come to the end of our half-hour journey. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine. Until then, continue to watch these and other programs by logging on to our website, jis.gov.jm, or subscribing to our YouTube channel. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson, urging you to practice proper hygiene and social distancing so we can all get to the end of this COVID-19 pandemic in good health. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.